Welcome to the Business Results Program. This is how you can transform yourself, your team, and your whole company. My name is Pete Winiarski. I'm the CEO of Win Enterprises, LLC, and this video is us recording a podcast episode. Podcast Business Results Radio. Look up businessresultsradio.com or go check it out on iTunes or one of the other podcast platforms. And do subscribe and do give a 5-star review. Now, you as a business leader, we get what you're going through. You've got overwhelm and stress and frustration. You have high expectations on your shoulders, some of which you put there yourselves. Why can I say this? Because we, our team, we've experienced this ourselves. We have been business leaders. We know what it's like. And boy, how cool is it that you have this resource? You can listen to this podcast, gain some insights about what you can do differently, gain some ideas, some strategies that you can put in place right away to make your life easier. That's what we're after here. We want your life to be easier because being a business leader does not have to be this challenging, doesn't have to be this hard. And we want you to exceed your expectations, excel, and achieve the results you want, get your team to thrive, and your company to just absolutely go right through the roof. And you can do that here. Enjoy this episode. Hey, Pete again, real quick. This is a special part of our Business Results Radio podcast. I'm part of a panel for leadership skills and development at this workshop as part of the Fabtech Expo. And I want to introduce you to each of the other speakers and do some teaser content for you. So whether you can make the Fabtech Expo in person or not, you'll get an opportunity here to get to know some of these people and their content. High power, get to know you in terms of leadership skills and development. Fabtechexpo.com if you're interested in learning more. It's the education program on that site. And listen away here at Business Results Radio and Business Results TV. Hey, Pete Winiarski here. I'm joined today by Lisa Ryan. And Lisa from Grategy is part of this amazing half-day workshop as part of the Fabtech Expo, which is coming up in November. And we're just doing a quick snippet for you. Lisa, how are you doing today?
I am fantastic. Thank you so much for inviting me to come and join you today.
You're welcome. And I want to just spread a little love back to Isla, who set this all up. Isla is the program manager for all of the learning platforms as part of Fabtech. And so as a reminder, if you want to see all these different programs, it's fabtechexpo.com, and go ahead and click on the part that talks about the learning programs. And this in November is November 12th in the afternoon. I'm checking my notes here, part of the 2019 education program. So Lisa Ryan from Grategy, that's a great, cool name. Tell us what Grategy means and who it is that you are, you strange guest on my show today. Let's go there first. Stranger is really what I meant to say.
Grategy actually stands for Gratitude Strategies. And I work with primarily manufacturing and skilled trade association members to try to keep their top talent from becoming someone else's. And we do this through gratitude strategies, because if you want to keep your top talent, it's recognizing the good that they do. It's acknowledging the contributions that they're making to your organization. Because no matter how much technology we have, no matter how much we can manufacture with so few people on the line, it still comes down to basic human connection. And we will never lose that. So even though some of you might be thinking, well, that sounds a little soft. Why should I start thanking my people for doing their job? I mean, that's what they get a paycheck for. But if you look at some of the ideas we're going to talk about and you implement them, I promise you there is nothing soft about the information that you'll walk out with.
Yeah, Lisa, I want to just remind people, soft does not mean unimportant. Right? Soft, yeah, it's soft. It's harder to measure. I get that. It's critical, the way you said it, to keep your top talent from becoming someone else's. That's really the bottom line. I mean, there's a lot of pain in your organization when your best people are no longer sticking around for some solvable or simple to fix set of circumstances, and they said, I'm out of here, that's just, the ripple is crazy. It's painful and it's costly. And there is data on that part for sure.
Right.
What you're talking about are strategies on the front end before it becomes a problem, before it becomes one of those statistics.
Absolutely, because so many times managers are always focusing on what is broken, what needs to be fixed, where instead if we back that up a little bit and we see what's working and how we can get our employees to do more of that, we will end up being more profitable, we'll have a more stable workforce, and we won't have that constant churn and burn of employees leaving and new blood coming in, because then you have all that training and all that other expense to mess around with.
Yeah, I've heard things like it takes a good 12 months for a new hire to get ramped up into a reasonable productive contribution level, right? I mean, they may not be able to replace the person who's got 20 years of knowledge and they just instinctively knew everything and then they left. You're just trying to get them up to a reasonable contribution level. Is it a 12 months seem like a benchmark that makes sense to you?
Yeah, that makes sense. But I think a number that's even more interesting for people to keep in mind is what it takes, how much it costs for one employee to walk in the door, which averages about $6,500. By the time you have that person, by the time you do all the interviewing, you bring them on board, you make all the preparation for them. So that employee comes in and 5 days into it, they're like, this is not what I signed up for. These people are jerks. I'm out of here. You just lost that money. So
Right.
these strategies are the ones that we do. So 12 months later, we still have that employee and they are ramping up and they are much more productive because now after a year, they're part of the team and hopefully we can count on them sticking around for a while.
Yeah, that is really important. And the ideas that you are sharing, even though people may say, I've heard these sorts of things before, I would challenge, how much of these are you actually doing proactively? Lisa, I sat with you 2 years ago and have a little bit of insight to, how you present, which is, you're phenomenal. Your presence in front of the room is masterful. You relate to these people. And I love some of the welding examples that you even bring into the world, because that's, in terms of this audience, to have, you with the skill sets that you have, you're not just someone in an ivory tower. I mean, you really get their issues.
No, I was in the welding industry for 7 years and I got the burns to prove it.
That's a shirt you have to, maybe wear to bed, but not take out in public.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so, I think the interesting thing about these strategies are how critical they actually are. And we were talking, I was talking to an individual that we hired back in like January, and here we are in September, and we just went on an exercise the other day. We had a workshop that we were doing, and we were driving together, and she's like, oh, I'm so glad I'm here. I made the right choice. Now, this is a person who commuted from Chicago to Connecticut and then ended up moving here. It was a big deal to make the change, right? And so, and had tons of offers, right? So that's the other thing, to recognize that we won the contest, so to speak, and for her to be happy, 6 or 8 months later is, thank God, right?
Right. And I know that you on a regular basis are letting her know how much you value her, how much, of a contribution, how glad you are she made the decision. Because I just had one of my clients, a tool and die manufacturer, and he had one of the women that worked for him came in and she gave her notice. And he's like, why are you leaving? You're one of our best workers. And she said, well, my manager never tells me that. He never recognizes anything I do. I don't know if I'm doing a good job. I don't know if I'm doing a bad job. So I'm going to go somewhere else and see what I can do. And so thankfully, the owner was able to talk her into staying and had a little chat with her manager. But we are wired for appreciation. We need to hear that we're making a difference. So instead of that whole thing of, well, she's getting a paycheck, why do I have to actually thank her? Because if you want your employees to give you their blood, their sweat, their tears, their commitment to your organization, it doesn't take that much, but it does take helping them to feel valued and that they are contributing to your organization.
Yeah, that's super powerful. And I guess until you have some experience with what it looks like in a good way, you wouldn't maybe know to do that, because it's not just about, oh, well, why would I thank them? They're just doing the job they're supposed to do. It's listed there in their job description. But, if I can, I'll share a quick story. Back when I was in college, I was a dishwasher in the dining commons. So this is where, hundreds of college students come for their lunches and dinners and whatnot. Not breakfast, because I wouldn't work that early in the day. But our dining commons serve breakfast or lunch and dinner. And, so after you get your food and you eat it, that tray comes back through the wall. Well, guess who's on the other side of the wall? That was me. We're scraping the food off the trays, putting the dishes in, getting them washed. And at the end of the shift, so here I am as a freshman, I've got to put myself through school. I'm happy to do a job that's paying me something. And it was pretty flexible. So there's a lot of good reasons to be there, but it was dirty and icky and food under your fingernails. And yeah, you went home, you better wash that shirt because you smelled afterwards. Well, the supervisor, who was a junior, he had to decide who's doing the dirtiest jobs today, who's going to do the cleaner ones. And at the end of the shift, he would say, "Hey, Pete, thanks for being here today." And I was like, well, where else would I be, right? Because that's just, I didn't even realize that there was an option to skip, right? Suppose if you skip, you're going to get fired. But my point is, it wasn't until a couple of years later when I was a student supervisor that I realized, wow, this is not easy to go take. There's 30 jobs that need to be filled. Only 22 people showed up tonight. Who goes where? It's like, yeah, thank you for being here today. And the appreciation that comes back does help to make that person, and I certainly did. I didn't mind coming back the next day.
Well, and you were trained well when it came to what you experienced from your manager is the exact same that you brought, the same thing that you brought to your job when you were a manager. Too many times, if somebody reports to somebody and the manager's a jerk, or they don't give them any kudos for anything they do, then when that person goes up the corporate ladder to whatever the next position is, they're doing the same thing to their people. So that's the key, is that everybody can make a difference starting today, starting right now, that you can start to recognize the people that work for you, and as you groom them to one day replace your job so you can move up again, you have trained those people that, you get a lot more work out of people when they feel valued, when you simply thank them for the contributions that they're making. It works.
Yeah, it does work. And, one of the things that thankfully I did have a whole line through my whole career of really great bosses and mentors and people to learn from. And I got to see some of this. And actually, one of my first supervisor jobs, back in the manufacturing world, was my boss was the VP of operations, pointing out how much parenting and supervising are similar. You're not going to treat your kids, like you don't care about them, right?
Right.
You're going to give them feedback and you're going to give them development, at least good parenting anyways. I suppose we should qualify it. But I think, the idea of parenting and developing is the same thing that you as a supervisor, you want to, make them, develop them, make them into the best they can be. And appreciation is a big piece of that.
Yes, it certainly is. And that's such a good comparison, because we really are grooming our employees, not only to have better experiences, to become stronger in what they do and their level of expertise in the plant, but we also are grooming them for where they go within our organization so that they too can take care of the people who work for them. That's a really great example.
Yeah, I love this. So Lisa, within this leadership workshop, you're talking about engaging and recognizing employees. So we've been talking about the whole theme here, and folks listening, I hope you got that, right? So this is what Lisa is all about. You can see it's in her DNA. Is there anything that we missed that you want to bring in specific to what they would see in the room with you on this workshop day?
Well, we're going to quickly solve the problems of the world in the time that we have together. But no, you'll be actually walking out with some real world strategies. We're going to go through my thanks process. I'm an acronym girl. That's just what I do. But building trust. So how do you make sure that these ideas aren't just another flavor of the week? How do you help your employees to be better tomorrow than they are today? In what ways are you investing in them? The A is acknowledge, applaud, and appreciate their efforts. And we've spent already a little bit of time talking about how important that is. The N is to navigate work-life integration. Notice I didn't say balance. With the invention of the smartphone, there is no balance anymore. So how do we create a culture where people want to stay? The K is how do you get to know your employees? And I have a super cool tool that you want to make sure that you don't miss that can help you to easily get to know your employees and how to recognize them in a minute. And the S is to serve a greater mission. You're just not manufacturing pieces, parts. You're contributing to life-saving equipment, to equipment that contributes to the greater good of our economy. So when we can take a look at how we're making a difference, that also is significant in keeping employees. So we'll go through that, we'll have a conversation about it, and you're going to have the opportunity to walk out with some tools that can continue to help you as well.
That's excellent. And I love the thanks. This is certainly acronyms help us to recall. And you did give us a little bit of insight about acknowledgement, but I know there's more strategies behind the other letters. So looking forward, Lisa, to seeing you in person, and all of you listening or watching this, I hope you're able to join fabtechexpo.com, go to the Learning Development for 2019 programs, and you'll see what we're talking about. We'll catch you there. Thank you, Lisa.
Bye, thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Hey, Pete here again. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. And I invite you to come back to this video channel or go to the podcast channel for Business Results Radio. Check it out, subscribe, give a 5-star review, and go ahead and share it with your friends. Until then, we'll see you again.